what is going on, Colts Nation? Rondo Griffin, Anthony Goulet, Marcus Martin, your host as always. First and 56, Victory Tuesday, 2 games over 500. Gentlemen, we obviously knew we weren't going to be here at this point in the season with everything that's gone down. We were just talking about it off the air right before hitting the record button. So, Marcus, you were there in person. Colts, Steelers, live in action. Take it away.
Oh man, as I was saying off the air, probably one of the best home games I've been to in years. Um, never expected that many Steeler fans to show up at the game, but there was there was a lot of terrible towels. Um, Great playoff atmosphere. It was electric from the start. Fans were loud. Even the Steeler fans were loud. What a great game. Officiating was decent. And let me bring this to light. And we said it in few other podcasts as we done, but Steny Shiken is a genius. He is a genius. To be down 13-0 and to come out with our number one receiver down, and to bring guys off the practice squad who just got activated this week to win the game and to score 30 unanswered points with guys off the practice squad was unbelievable.
Right, and then not only that, I think we're kind of even underselling it. It's just like, he's got his backup quarterback. In the game, we were down to running backs 3 and 4. You mentioned it. Pittman goes down, receiver 1 goes down. Let's flip to the defense side of the ball, because the thing we've been talking about with the cornerbacks, we're running. I believe Juju Brent's played this week, but other than him, we're running out CB 5 and 6. Like you said, guys who weren't on the main 53 when the season started. So, and yes, it's a Steelers. It's been a bad offense. Mitch Trubisky, no one is afraid of that guy under center. But with all of the circumstances he's had to deal with, if you would have told any of us, even just fully healthy, that we're going to be sitting at 8-6, a half game out of the division with 3 to go, we'd all would have said you were crazy. Let's take it back a few weeks ago. Our record predictions, I believe we all said 4 to 5 wins. I think one of us might have said 6. I honestly don't remember. Point being is that we are way ahead of schedule of where we thought we would be, and we're not even at 100% in terms of the health department. So, like you said, it's exciting. It's great. And the fact that we're even on the show right now talking about a potential playoff push is mind-boggling.
Absolutely. I totally agree. I was just reflecting, the other day on the season. I'm like, man, we're way ahead of schedule. Just think if we had Anthony Richardson, we'd be 11 wins right now. I do believe that. I'm truly firm believe that we'd be 11-win team right now, and possibly with the division in our grasp. Pretty much owning it right now. But Gardner's Minshew, he's been great. He's been, there's some wow me moments there and things like that. But so far, I could say he's been the perfect game manager. He's not turned the ball over. He's made decisive decisions with the ball. To have the poise that he had Saturday, with your number one receiver going down, and you have to bring that, how great Gardner Minshew could really be. And if he's not with the Colts next year, I can guarantee you he's starting somewhere in the league.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of we had an understanding of coming into this offseason of when we signed Gardner Minshew in the first place. He's going to be a great mentor to whoever we're going to draft. He knows Steichen. He knows the offense. He's going to be a perfect number 2. And even in that offseason and during training camp, he's always saying the right things. Like, hey, I'm just a vet. I'm here to push the rookie. I'm not looking for his job. I'm here to help him. Obviously, he's had to stay ready, with Richardson and his injury troubles, eventually having to take over now for the season. But like you said, with the way he's playing, he's probably earned himself a spot starter job, at least a chance to compete for a starting job next season with someone else. Sure, it might hurt us, but at the end of the day, kind of like we've been saying, the end goal is Richardson. and he's the free. He would draft him number 4 to be the franchise guy. The future is with him. I'm fully with you on the fact of that. We're at 8-6 right now with Minshew. I think easily, when you can look back at some of the losses, if Richardson's playing, we win those games. So like you said, we're ahead of schedule though, so we're gonna take all this. It's great, and especially again, kind of what we said again, coming into the beginning of the season, we knew Jacksonville was the team to beat in the AFC. But like we all said, they didn't scare us. The gap wasn't that far, and again, now the fact that we're sitting a half game back with 3 games left to go, we're with our backup quarterback at that. Like that gap is not far at all.
I definitely agree. And to be, especially when the season started, Jacksonville, you know, they didn't scare us, but they had a better record than most teams in the AFC South. They're starting to pull away. Can't wait to see Rich in this offense. Yeah, he would be taking us far places this year if we had him. But you know, right now, I don't even think the AFC South title is out of reach. I mean, th- 3 out of 4 teams are 8-6. Quite frankly, I'm more scared of Houston than I am of Jacksonville. Jacksonville has been on the decline lately. I mean, clearly they started 6-2, and now they're like 8-6, 8-5. So, I'm not too afraid of Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence has been looking like just a mediocre guy. I mean, it's real easy to just say it how it is. I mean, he was projected to be the next Andrew Luck, and C.J. Stroud is the one out here throwing 400 yards. So, I'm more afraid of Houston right now. The AFC South title is not out of reach, but if the Colts win out, I think we can do some special things.
Yeah, again, we're gonna kind of probably parrot ourselves a lot here, but mention that quarterback race in the AFC South, the fact that it is a youth movement. Trevor Lawrence been kind of established now, obviously a couple of years in the league. You could probably pencil him in as the best quarterback in the division. But then, like you said, C.J. Stroud's been on fire for his rookie year. Unfortunately, he's able to had to miss his last game due to injury. We saw the small bright flashes of what Andy Richardson could do for us. And Will Levis, I guess he's the guy now in Tennessee. Again, I'm not seeing much. There's been the little flashes here and there, but again, it still leads to that youth movement. Ryan Tannehill's obviously not the answer. He's done in Tennessee. Derrick Henry, listen to his last press conference, he's probably done there as well. So the AFC South's been taken over by this young quarterback movement, and those are the guys we're going to deal with, for the next 10 plus years. And I definitely, like you said, I like our chances when it comes to AR5.
Oh yeah, I definitely do. I definitely do. Of course, we didn't get a chance to see it this year. Hopefully next year, he's locked in and he stays healthy or whatnot. But I want to ask you guys, a question. What was your take from Saturday's game? Um, the way the defense played, because technically, if you look at the game, the Steelers only actually really scored, 6 points on offense. You got the block punt, which set them up, for that second touchdown. But the defense, they played lights out. What did you guys, from what you've seen at home, compared to what I've seen at the game? What was you guys' assessment?
I'll take this first. For me, it was offense. Obviously defense played great, but obviously, I live in Steelers country, and the talk of the town, I mean, was T.J. Watt. He's going to be coming back this week, and they had him lined up on Blake Freeland. And to me, you know, he didn't make that much of an impact on the game. He had 2 sacks and 2 tackles for loss, but that drive where we just ran it like 12 straight plays, I think it was. I mean, like that just established, how dominant this offensive line is, even with Blake Freeland in there. I mean, that defensive line is it also includes Cam Hayward. Cam Hayward is one of the best defensive tackles in the league. He's in that same conversation as Buckner, and that guy couldn't get through. It just being able to run with these guys. I mean, honestly, it was a beautiful thing to see, and not only that. I mean, just seeing Q again. I mean, just seeing Q pull on these blocks. I mean, there's at least 3 or 4 plays. You got 56 running there. Like, just follow him. and you're going to get yards. Tyler Goodson, I think one of his big runs he broke out on was following Q. I mean, and that's kind of what I wanted to see. Because like I said, the talk of the town was Steelers defense is just going to terrorize the Colt offense. Similar to what Miles Garrett did. He had that like a strip sack fumble against us and all that. So they were thinking about the same thing. But I was just impressed with the offensive line this game.
Yeah, since you went offense, I'll go defense. Essentially, the how that game went, I'll go back to last year on this podcast. That's exactly what you want to see to be taken seriously as a contender. Sure, we can match with the great teams, but the bottom feeders, the teams you're supposed to stomp on. That's what we went out there and did. That's what we're supposed to do to be taken seriously. With Mitch Trubisky under center, that guy's a bum quarterback. Let's be real. We know bottom half of the league. Mason Rudolph's no better, and Kenny Pickett, ironically enough, isn't that much better either. It's a terrible offense over there. Sure, we're missing some pieces on our defense, but like you said, holding them to 13, really only holding them to kind of 6, like you mentioned, the block punt puts them in better field position. That's the exact kind of output you want against those bottom tier offenses, to where, and speaking of our offense, obviously we put 30 points on the board, but it's a game where 2 touchdowns wins it for us. So it's a total team win. But again, those are the type of wins you want to see to be taken serious as a contender.
I agree absolutely. Um, my take of from the whole game was offense and defense. I mean, everybody came to play. Special teams came to play. Um, I mean, we really was just I don't think we were really locked in at first, but I think the whole game changed when Mike got hurt. I think that was a wake up call to the players. I mean, from seeing it live compared to when I went, because they really didn't replay it at the stadium, so we couldn't really go back and see, how the hit happened, exactly where he got hit. So I had to go on Twitter and relive all of that. But seeing it live at the stadium, it didn't really look that bad. But then as I looked at the replay and actually seeing the hit, oh, it was atrocious. It was crazy. And the whole stadium got quiet because, that's your number one receiver. He was getting ready to break, I think he did break 1,000 yards, but he was really on pace to have probably another 8 to 10 catches that game. I mean, Michael Pittman was, he was balling. And I think when they knocked him out, I think that was the wake up call, and I think that's when everybody got really, really, really focused and got locked in, and then we took off from there, and we put our foot on the gas and we didn't let up.
Yeah, exactly. And so you bring up Pittman. It's a perfect segue. Let's talk about it. He's a receiver one. We're convinced on that. This game puts him over 1,000 yards. Ironic enough, he's one catch short of that 100 receptions plateau, but he got his 1,000 yards. We know he's due up this season. It's not a matter of should we bring him back? It's really a matter of the dollar figuration. So I'll pose this question to you guys. Where you don't have to give me an exact number unless you've got it on your mind, but contract wise, what are we thinking for number 11?
I don't know. I'm thinking at least a 4 or 5 year deal. The numbers, I don't know, but I think he definitely deserves all of his money. Um, he definitely took a chance on himself. He didn't cry like Taylor did. I mean, I love JT, but JT was kind of dramatic about it. So I think Pittman kind of put his money where his mouth is. Um, and hey, he showed out just like Marcus said. I mean, he had 4 for 78 in like 1.5 quarters. He was on pace to get 150 that game. Let's be real. And that drop touchdown by DJ in the end zone there on fourth down. I mean, Pittman's catching that. So if you look at it, he was on pace for really 150 and 2 touchdowns because DJ had a touchdown. So that's just my opinion. At least a 4 or 5 year deal, at least 100 million.
Marcus, you want to take a swing at it?
I didn't catch that number. What did he say?
He went 4 or 5 years.
4 or 5 years, okay. At least 100 million. So like the minimum, probably like at least what Leonard got, because Leonard's got he got what 4 for 100. So I would give the same to Pittman.
I would probably say right around that number. I'm going to say a 5 year because I mean Pittman is he proved he's proven this year. He bet on himself. Why not give him a 5 year, 110 million, and give him 45 up front? You know what I'm saying? He deserved it. It's not going to break the bank. You know, we still got plenty of cash to spend in the off season. Um, but he's earned it, you know. And like, and I think that would be, you know, at my guess. I mean, I'm not Chris Ballard, so I don't know, you know, what the market is right now for, you know, top receivers, and he is, you know, and I don't know if you guys agree or not, but I could probably say he's in the top 10 right now.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I would say 5 year, 110 million.
Yeah, like I'm with you guys on the years. You know, 4 or 5 years, you lock him up. He's earned the $20 million a year contract. He's definitely earned 20 million per. That was definitely the question coming into the season, was whether you throw him in that upper echelon or not. As for top 10 in the league, that's the thing. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of good receivers in the league. I still have him kind of in that top 15 range, but he's more towards like the 11, 12 ish. Because like I just can't put him in that top 10 just yet. I think with Richardson, he can easily get there though.
I think so too. I mean, if you look at the numbers right now, I think he's what, third in receptions or fourth in receptions. He's
He's
got,
number two.
yeah,
He is
yeah,
number
number
two,
two.
only
He's got
behind
what,
Keenan
99
Allen.
receptions. I was gonna say he's got what, like 99 receptions or something like that, or like
Mm-hmm.
100
Yep, he's got
receptions already.
99.
Like,
Keenan Allen has 108.
yeah, like he is rock solid with the ball. I mean, like you throw it up to him, he's gonna catch it. Literally, the only time he dropped it was when the dude came in at a 90-degree angle and took his head off. So, I mean, the dude is rock solid, and I think that he definitely cleaned some stuff up from last year. I mean, last year I want to say he had the name. I mean, around the same amount of receptions last year, but he didn't get his 1,000 yards. But I think now he definitely cleaned some stuff up. Like I guess, like I said, especially I was just thinking in that Washington game. I mean, with Sam Ellinger at quarterback, you're coming down the field with like a minute left, 30 seconds left, and Pittman dropped it. And we're all just like, what the hell? Like Michael Pittman with a drop, and I feel like he just cleaned it up. He definitely deserves his money, and especially with AR coming back and with Pittman coming on a new deal, I think it's gonna be a attractive spot for wide receivers to come sign. We have our clear number one, but hey, Terry McLaurin, you want to come and form a great receiving core, or another free agent wide receiver. Like we're finally like an attractable like place for free agents to sign, or people that want to get traded to.
Yeah, Devin, 'cause I think the problem in the past was that it was their revolving door at quarterback. You know, obviously a big question for receiver is who's throwing me the ball. Because if they don't know that, they're not going to come. You know, that's
I
a
mean, I
reason.
mean, I mean, like even with the injuries, like let's just say this, AR gets hurt again next year. Cool, all of the I want to say like there's only 6 quarterbacks this year that's been playing the whole year. All of the other teams in the league, so like more than half the league, they've been playing with their backup quarterback. AR gets hurt again. Cool, you got Minshew who's been here for a year,
Now,
so
do you bring Minshew back though? I mean, you
I
know,
would,
because he's
I
going to
would.
have a lot of interest from other teams. You know, that's probably going to offer him a lot more money than what we are. But or do you bring? I mean, what value do you have to bring Minshew back?
See, I think you should value him a lot more than you normally would. Like, if this was last off season, you obviously give him a smaller contract, but we're seeing what's going on in the league again, and especially with AR's play style. I think you have to bring him back, even if it's, let's just say, you know, 2 years, 15 million for a backup quarterback. I wouldn't mind paying that, just because we're seeing everybody basically shit on, say, for example, the Bengals. People didn't take this kid seriously. And granted, like he's been okay, but you know I think having a backup quarterback is important, especially now because the injuries are so big in the
Mhm.
league. Like I said, it's only been like Tua, Dak Prescott, Lamar, Patrick Mahomes, and two others. Like that's been it. Literally every other quarterback has gotten hurt this year. So I think you really have to value him, and I think Gardner gives you a bit of a security blanket. with
Yeah,
you.
and I think that the tough thing about retaining Minshew is, with Josh Dobbs kind of falling off the cliff, I think Minshew's vaulted himself now to the probably like the best, spot starter that's going to be hit of a market. Because before, I would say Josh Dobbs had that on a lock, and his last couple of games, just again, I guess his Linsanity run is over. Minshew's probably going to be that best available kind of spot starter bridge quarterback guy. So leading to Marcus's point, you might unfortunately have to get into a bidding war for him. I guess we'll have to wait a little bit to kind of see who's really going to be looking for a quarterback that's going to need one. Obviously, some teams going to be near the top. You hear it every year of, oh, this QB class, this QB class. So we know there's a few guys, in this QB class that should be nice, but there's always that one or two teams that need a bridge guy. So we'll probably get in a competition with them, but I think I'll leave with both of you of that. You probably do need to bring Minshew back just because, again, like circumstances we saw this year and what he brings to the team.
I absolutely agree. And, um, I would love to have Gardner back. I really did. But I mean, if he went somewhere, they offered him way more money than, what we would to retain him, I would support him on that aspect too, because Gardner has been, he's been good for us. I mean, we have some good and bad moments, with, Gardner, but, these past couple of games, man, I mean, he's been locked in. He's really been solid. He hasn't turned the ball over. He's been, like I said, um, stepped it up the past couple of games, and I'm hoping that he can carry that out through the rest of the season. With these last 3 games left, and in this AF South division, it's going to be tight all the way down to the finish. I think. I mean, uh, Jacksonville really doesn't have a hard schedule. The rest of these last 3 games, and neither do we. So I think it's going to come down to the Week 17 matchup against the Texans and the Colts.
Yeah, and before we get there, I guess let's talk about this interesting bit of news that we only got like a couple hours ago. Because obviously, I'm sure you guys remember, the key and act is before the game, and I noticed Isaiah McKenzie on that list, which I thought was very interesting, knowing our lack of depth at receiver position. Comes out, today that himself and Tony Brown have been suspended for the team for acts detrimental to team conduct, something like that. Still very vague of the details, but all we know right now is that Isaiah McKenzie and Tony Brown are not suiting up for the rest of this season and probably, not suiting up ever again in a Colts uniform. But guys, what's going on with the culture here? I mean, this is the third time we've got a player suspended for acts detrimental to the team. Are we going to call it a one-off issue, or is there maybe a problem brewing in the locker room?
Nah, I think it's just those guys in like in their own right. McKenzie, personally, I don't really miss him that much. I mean, that muff punt against the Bengals. I mean, personally, it was just my opinion. I saw the inactive. I thought he got benched for downs as punt returner. Obviously, this is um, this is different, but I just think it's a matter of the guys you have in your locker room, and like I said on Twitter earlier, Marcus agreed with me. We finally have a culture for once. We're seeing now we're seeing now, you know, um, guys are really being held accountable. I mean, especially Darius Leonard. I mean, that was such a tough situation. You never want to see one of your captains get cut, but that happened, and now this happens. Um, Tony Brown has been a really good special team player, not so much a corner you want to play outside. We saw what happened against the Saints, but you know I thought Tony Brown really, he's been here for a few years now. He's one of your special teams guys. He's kind of like your Matthew Slater type of guy. He had a block punt against the Titans. Like he's just one of those guys. Like you just figured he would be on the Colts for say 2, 3, 4 more years, just as a special teamer. But obviously, we're building the culture around here, and they're not messing around. So I think Shane Steichen just showing his true colors. He means business.
And I absolutely agree. Um, I think we're going to miss Tony Brown a lot. especially on special teams, especially on the punt coverage. Um, he was usually one of the first ones down to make tackles and stuff, and so he was pretty solid there. Isaiah McKenzie, I don't think we're gonna. I mean, Josh Downs, I think, is starting to come out of, because he was been dealing with a knee injury, for the past 3 or 4 weeks, so he hasn't really been himself lately. But I think, he's starting to get his knee, so I don't think we're gonna be missing Isaiah that much. But I mean, getting to the point of the situation is, like Anthony said, we have a culture and we have a coach that's going to hold these guys accountable for everything that they do. Curfew, what times you're supposed to be there to load the plane, you know, all of this stuff, practice time, what you do in practice and all this kind of stuff. So, and we actually got a coach that's, hey, this is the culture, this is the game plan, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to operate as a team, and if you don't want to do that, then there's the door. And of course we've seen that, unfortunately with Darius Leonard, because in games we've all seen it, we've all seen the missed tackles, we've all seen the Darius, what are you doing type of. That's not the Darius that we were used to 3 or 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he's still hurt, or I know I watched a couple of Eagles games since he's been in, and it's the same stuff. It's the same stuff that we've seen.
Man.
It was the same stuff that we've seen that, when he was here in Indy. So nothing has changed since he went to a different team. So now I understand the reason why the decision was made to release him. And if you're not going to come and give it your all, then you're not going to play for the Colts. Shane Steichen.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing we love about it too, is because I think a lot of like the problem, back in the Frank Reich era was that lack of accountability, that lack of consequences for your lack of performance. So, like you guys both said, we're seeing it now, and we're seeing it immediate. Darius Leonard, Shaq Leonard getting cut, an all-pro player, defensive player of the year guy getting cut while he's still young. Crazy, unheard of. But then, like you said, Marcus, you see him, but yet you see him playing, last night, Monday night, same stuff. Looks like he's lost a step. It's just not there. The boom isn't there. Explosiveness isn't there. You got to, like you say, if you're not putting up, we got to let you go. Especially, again, like as I said, we just paid you. We want that player, the player who earned that contract. You're not doing that. Unfortunately, here's the door. There's plenty of guys waiting on practice squads, waiting on the street, ready to take your spot. And maybe not the same skill as you, but for sure better effort. And unfortunately, like I said, them's the breaks. It's going to happen that way. But I guess we'll close it with this because, so with the news of Isaiah McKenzie and Tony Brown being suspended, I guess eventually going to get cut. We'll see with that. Jarvis Landry was in town for a visit and a workout. Now, this is a guy that myself and Gulick, we wanted on this team, a few years back. I don't know if he's got much left in the legs now, but Isaiah McKenzie technically was kind of that veteran receiver. Jarvis Landry, if he comes in and take that role, I mean, I don't hate it.
I don't hate that at all myself. I mean, the veteran presence, and why not? Let's put all the chips in and go after this playoff run. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't know how much he has left in the tank. I don't know exactly what he can do, and I don't know how quickly he can learn the playbook. But I'm not opposed, to them bringing him in and seeing what we can do in this playoff run.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm to me this kind of seems like the Ty and Dallas situation last year. I mean, they took a chance on a guy with say 3 or 4 weeks left in the year, and they're basically like, hey, we'll see what you got. And Ty actually kind of gave Dallas, a little spark here and there. So, if we can pick up Landry, I mean, worst case scenario, for the last 2 games of the year, if he's the extra oomph we need, especially if Pittman is, going to be out this week, hey, I'll take it. So I'm not opposed to it at all.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot he was actually like still active. Seeing the reports, just like, like I said, I said in our group chat, I was like, where has he been? But like I said, I definitely wouldn't hate it. I've always said when he was active player, probably one of the best route runners in the league. So if anything, he can just be the kind of that extra assistant coach to Reggie Wayne with this young receiver group.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Grant, like Landry, I feel like he's not much of a run blocker, which is what a lot of these Colts receivers are. But I still feel like he can give you some little bursts here and there. I don't think Landry, like, I hate to pick on DJ again, but I don't think Landry drops that in the end zone all alone like that. So
Oh, absolutely not. And I think he's still got, I still think he can, he's got, one of the better route, runners in the league too. Jarvis is pretty good at route running. So, and he can get open. So I think he can still do that. I mean, I don't think he can beat anybody deep anymore or anything like that. But I mean, if you need a first down or something like that, I think he still can give you that that presence there.
Yeah, definitely. Like a few, like 10 snaps here, 12 snaps there. Similar to kind of what Julio Jones is doing right now for Philly. I mean, obviously it didn't work out in a victory for them again on this Monday, but Julio Jones he's been on their team, only has 6 catches on the year, but I'm sure he's helped those receivers in other ways, obviously in lack of his on-field ability.
Yes, sir. Hey, Rondo, I want to say one thing before we close
Mhm.
this show. I want to give a shout out to your main man, EJ Speed. Hey,
yeah,
EJ Speed did his thing Saturday. I mean, 10 plus tackles, uh, tackles for loss. I've never seen EJ Speed play the way he played on Saturday. So I want to give him his flowers. I hope he can do it again. EJ Speed, if you're listening to the podcast, hey, you did your thing. I'm still waiting to get that jersey signed. So give us a follow.
Yeah, but like I've been saying, people thought I was crazy when I said a 5th round pick, a linebacker out of a small school that no one's really heard of in Texas was gonna eventually be an X factor. And I told everyone, I said, like, look, what you see in Shaq Leonard, I'm like, that was EJ Speed in college. Now I'm not saying he's gonna be exactly that, master the peanut punch or anything, but like I kind of the first thing I said when I first did a review on him, I was like, the name on the back of his jersey is the exact same way he plays, and you will see it on the field.
You
yeah,
absolutely did. You
yeah. And
absolutely
like,
did.
man, I'm not gonna lie to you. Just a little pe- piece of Speed's game. I mean, I don't think I've been hyped like that in a long time when Speed just picked up Harris and slammed him like that. Seeing that, I mean, like, especially like first drive of the game, he does that. You mean like you're setting the tone early. I don't care if they scored on that first drive. You're setting the tone. I'm like, man, I just knew he was gonna have a big game after that. I just knew, but I haven't gotten hyped. I mean, especially since it's against the Steelers. Like, like I said, I'm in Steelers country, and I hate the Steelers. Just like seeing their running back get picked up 6 feet in the air and get slammed by EJ Speed. That was beautiful. That was my favorite part of the game.
Yeah, and to bring it full circle, we talked about culture. A guy like EJ Speed, a guy like Zaire Franklin, day 3 picks who are key pieces on your starting defense. That's what you want to see. That's what you're building, and that's the message you're sending anytime you draft a guy now to this team. On day 3, hey, you're a day 3 pick. So was I. You matter. Work your way up the chain. EJ Speed, Zaire Franklin, both of them start on special teams. Work the way up the chain. Now Zaire Franklin, starting linebacker, leading league in tackles. EJ Speed, starting linebacker now. Making those splash plays. He's being that boom that we needed when we lost Leonard. So you're seeing it, the culture seeing it. And again, Ballard we got to trust in Ballard. He's the wizard. He's the one, obviously, who drafted both of them. So, he saw anything more than any of us. But that's going to do it for this episode. If you guys aren't already, make sure you're giving us a follow on YouTube. Sideline Sports, a YouTube channel. If you're watching it here, drop a thumbs up, drop a like, give us subscribe to the channel. Not just our show, a lot of other great shows. Sports, it's in the name. You name a sport, we've got it. If we don't got it, send them a message. I'm sure we'll go get somebody to get it. Give us a follow on Twitter at First and 56. Obviously, you can follow all of us individually. But on behalf of myself, my 2 co-hosts, Sideline Sports as the team, 156 as the organization, we will guys catch you on the next one. After now, we are out.